Elias Farron's footsteps echoed against the cold flagstones as he descended into the catacombs beneath Farron Manor, a place his ancestors had long warned him never to trade. The flickering lantern in his hand danced shadows across the carved skulls and cryptic glyphs lining the walls. Dust choked the stagnant air, but Elias pressed on, each step heavy with dread. He had not come here by choice, nor had he come alone. At the threshold, he paused, recalling the events that had driven him to this forsaken depth. 3 days ago, his younger sister, Lira, had collapsed in the orchard, her eyes rolling back, her lips murmuring words in a forgotten tongue. The village healer could only shake her head. A curse, Lord Farron. Ancient, powerful, and meant for blood. The curse had come for Lira, but its origin lay with Elias. When his mother died, she whispered the family's darkest secret into Elias's ear with her final breath. The Farron curse. Only the blood of your dearest can break it. Beware, my son, love is both your salvation and your doom. At first, he dismissed it as the delirium of a dying woman. But as Lira's condition worsened, her veins blackening, her voice echoing with inhuman resonance, he realized the truth: the curse was real, and it was killing her. Elias reached the heart of the catacombs, a small stone altar, stained dark with centuries-old blood. Above it, an iron-rimmed mirror reflected his gaunt face, hollowed by worry and sleepless nights. He set the lantern down and unwrapped the object he'd brought. A dagger, its blade etched with the same glyphs as the walls. The Farron family grimoire, unlocked with his mother's ring, had laid out the ritual in chilling detail. To break the curse, one must offer the life of what they cherish most. The magic demanded not just blood, but genuine loss, a sacrifice of love, not convenience. His hands trembled as he thought of Lira upstairs, feverish and delirious. She had always been the light in his world, the laughter after his father's death, the gentle touch when the weight of his responsibilities became too much. The thought of harming her was unthinkable, yet the curse was relentless. If he did nothing, she would die anyway, and the curse might never end. A sound behind him startled Elias. He spun, dagger in hand, to find his childhood friend and steward, Marek, standing in the shadows. Elias. Marek's voice was low, urgent. You shouldn't be down here. The villagers are frightened. They say they hear chanting in the night. Some have fled. I have no choice, Elias replied, forcing steel into his voice. The curse will kill Lira. I must end it. Marek's eyes pleaded. There must be another way. Elias shook his head. I've scoured every text, every legend. The ritual is clear. Silence hung between them, oppressive and thick. That night, Elias sat at Lira's bedside, watching her chest rise and fall in shallow, ragged breaths. The moonlight cast her features in alabaster relief, too pale, too fragile. He brushed a strand of hair from her brow, recalling how she used to chase him through these very halls, laughter trailing behind like a promise. As he watched her, a memory surfaced. His mother, holding a young Lira in her lap, singing an old lullaby. Love is the binding, love is the break. Love is the gift that sorrow will take. He wept silently, racked with guilt. How cruel that love, the thing that made life worth living, could be twisted into a weapon by ancient magic. But resolve hardened in him. If he could save Lira by sacrificing himself, he would. But the curse demanded the life of the one he loved most, and Lira was all he had left. The next morning, Elias summoned Marek to the library. The air was thick with the scent of old parchment and candle wax. I need your help, Elias said quietly. If I falter, if I cannot finish the ritual, you must do it for me. Marek recoiled. I cannot. I will not harm Lira. Elias gripped his friend's shoulder. If the curse remains, others will suffer. The Farron bloodline will end, but the curse could seek new victims. We must be sure. Tears sprang to Marek's eyes, but he nodded. For Lira. For you. They prepared in grim silence. Elias copied the ritual instructions onto a fresh sheet of parchment, while Merrick fetched the necessary herbs and oils. Each step felt like a betrayal. When all was ready, Elias returned to Lyra's side. She was awake, barely. Her eyes, once bright as summer sky, were clouded with pain. "Eli," she whispered. "I dreamed you were lost in the dark." He took her hand. "I'm right here, Lira. I won't leave you." She smiled faintly, unaware of the storm raging behind his eyes. That evening, as the sun bled into the horizon, Elias carried Lira through the manor's secret passageways to the catacombs. Merrick followed, holding the lantern aloft. Each step echoed with finality. At the altar, Elias laid Lira gently down. Her breath was shallow, her pulse fluttering like the wings of a dying bird. He knelt beside her, the dagger heavy in his hand. The ritual words caught in his throat. He looked to Merrick, who watched with haunted eyes. "I'm sorry, Lira," Elias whispered, tears slipping down his cheeks. "I love you. More than life." As he raised the dagger, Lyra's hand closed weakly around his wrist. Her eyes met his, lucid for the first time in days. "Don't," she rasped. "There's always another way. Please, Eli, don't let love become hate." Elias froze, torn between hope and despair. The ritual called for sacrifice. But Lyra's words echoed in his mind, words of love, of faith, of a different kind of strength. Could there be another way? He lowered the dagger, hope flickering in the darkness. Elias's hand trembled, the dagger's tip hovering above his sister's heart. Lyra's grip on his wrist, frail yet insistent, anchored him. Her words, "Don't let love become hate," echoed in his mind, mingling with the chilling command of the ritual. For a moment, the silence in the catacombs deepened, broken only by Lyra's ragged breaths and the faint, mournful drip of water from the stones above. Merrick shifted uneasily, the lantern's glow illuminating the horror etched on his face. "Elias," he whispered, "if you can't do it, we must try something else. There has to be a way." Elias looked down at his sister, her pale skin almost translucent in the lantern light. He thought of all they had endured together. Their mother's passing, their father's silent grief, the secret burdens of the Farron line. The thought of ending Lyra's life with his own hands was unbearable. Yet, if he faltered, the curse would claim her anyway, and perhaps more. He lowered the dagger, his resolve momentarily shattered. "I can't," he choked out. "Not like this." A shudder ran through Lyra's body. Her eyes rolled back, and her lips moved, murmuring in that ancient, guttural language. A cold wind swept through the catacombs, snuffing out several candles at once. The mirror above the altar shimmered, its surface swirling with shadows. Without warning, Lyra's body arched, her voice rising into a keening wail. Symbols on the altar flared with sickly green light, casting the chamber into a ghastly, flickering twilight. Elias and Merrick recoiled, shielding their eyes. A shadow detached itself from the mirror, a vague, shifting form, its edges indistinct. It hovered above Lyra, its voice a chorus of whispers. "Blood must answer blood. Love must yield to loss. The pact cannot be broken." Elias staggered to his feet, interposing himself between the shadow and his sister. "Take me," he shouted, voice cracking. "I am the heir. I am the one who should pay." The shadow's form twisted, almost amused. "You love her more than yourself. The curse binds to the heart's truest devotion." Merrick stepped forward, brandishing a silver amulet he'd brought from the manor's chapel. "Begone! You have no claim here." The shadow recoiled, but only briefly, before surging forward with a blast of icy wind. Merrick was thrown against the wall, the amulet clattering away. Lyra's eyes snapped open, unnatural light blazing within. Her voice, layered with another's, spoke, "Elias, you must choose. End me, or the curse will consume us both." Tears streaming down his face, Elias dropped the dagger to the floor. "There must be another way. You said so yourself, Lira. I will not let this curse twist love into murder." The shadow shrieked, the sound reverberating through Elias's bones. The time for mercy has passed. The blood price must be paid. Elias, desperate, racked his memory for anything he had missed in the grimoire. He remembered his mother's words, "Love is the binding, love is the break. Love is the gift that sorrow will take." The phrase had always sounded like a riddle. He knelt beside the altar, clutching Lira's hand. If love is the binding, and love is the break, then perhaps there is a sacrifice other than death. He squeezed her hand, pouring every ounce of love, hope, and fear into the touch. "Lira, listen to me. If I lose you, there is nothing left for me. But if the curse feeds on that love, then let it take my memories. Let it have every moment we shared, every trace of the bond between us. Let it have my love, if it means your life." The shadow's whispers faltered, caught off guard. The glyphs along the walls glowed brighter, shifting from green to gold. Lira's lips parted, her true voice weak but present. "Eli, don't." He pressed on, voice strong despite his tears. "Take my love curse. Strip it from me. Let me forget, if it means she lives." A terrible stillness settled over the chamber. The shadow hovered, uncertain, the mirror's surface rippling with images. Elias and Lira laughing as children, comforting each other in grief, standing side by side in the orchard. The shadow spoke, its voice now singular, solemn. "To break the curse, a loss must be suffered. Love or life." Elias closed his eyes. "Then take my love. Take it all." The dagger on the altar flared with golden light, then crumbled to dust. The glyphs along the walls pulsed, the curse's power shifting focus. The shadow drifted towards Elias, enveloping him in cold, suffocating darkness. He felt memories slipping away. The sound of Lira's laughter, the warmth of her hand in his, the comfort of her presence in the manor's empty halls. He gasped, pain lancing through his heart, as the most precious moments of his life faded into oblivion. When the darkness receded, Elias collapsed to the floor, breath rasping in his chest. The shadow was gone, the altar cleansed of blood, the mirror clear once more. Lira lay beside him, color returning to her cheeks, her breathing deep and even. Marek, shaken but unharmed, rushed to her side, relief etched on his face. "She's alive, Elias, you did it." Elias sat up, blinking in confusion. He looked at Lira, at Marek, and felt only a vague sense of familiarity, a hollow where love had once been. Lira's eyes filled with tears as she realized what he had done. "Oh, Eli, what have you given up?" Elias searched her face, trying to summon some spark of the bond they had shared. There was nothing but a dull ache, and a lingering sense of loss. The curse was broken, but the cost was everything. Elias sat slumped on the cold stone floor of the catacombs, the weight of exhaustion pressing down on him. The chamber, once oppressive and haunted, now felt strangely hollow, a vacuum left by the curse's departure. Dust motes drifted in the lantern light. The dagger, now a heap of brittle ash, was all that remained of the ritual's demands. Lira, pale but breathing steadily, stirred beside him. She blinked, confusion clouding her gaze. Marek, his face streaked with dirt and tears, pressed a trembling hand to her brow. "Lira, can you hear me?" She nodded, her voice a whisper. "I'm alive." Her fingers brushed Elias's sleeve. "Ali, what happened?" Elias met her gaze, and for a moment, something flickered. An echo of the bond that had once defined his life. But it was gone. He searched her face for meaning, but all he found was a painful emptiness, as if he were looking at a beloved portrait now rendered blank. "I don't know," he replied, the words foreign in his mouth. "You were ill. There was a ritual. I think the curse is gone." Marek's relief was palpable, but he eyed Elias with concern. "You don't remember?" Elias shook his head. "I know your names, but nothing else. Not really. It's like seeing the world through a window. Everything familiar, but distant." Lira's tears welled anew. She took Elias's hand, clutching it tightly. You gave up our memories. You gave up us. The trio made their way slowly from the catacombs, Marek supporting both siblings as they stumbled through the chill, winding corridors. By the time they reached the manor's sunlit foyer, the darkness of the curse seemed to recede, yet Elias's sense of loss grew sharper. Servants who had not fled greeted them with cautious hope. News of Lira's recovery spread quickly, and the oppressive dread that had hung over Farron Manor began to dissipate. Yet, for Elias, joy was a stranger's face. Marek guided Elias to the library, urging him to rest. Lira followed, unwilling to leave her brother's side. She retrieved the grimoire, its pages now faded and inert. There may be a way to restore what was lost, she said softly, her voice trembling with hope and fear. Old stories speak of memories reclaimed, love reforged, but it could be dangerous. Magic's price is never small. Elias shook his head. If the curse is broken, that is enough. I would not risk your life again, Lira. But your heart, she pleaded. You sacrificed yourself for me. He managed a faint, apologetic smile. Perhaps that is what love truly is, even if I can no longer feel it. Days passed. Lira's health returned in full, her laughter echoing through the manor's halls once more. Yet the distance between brother and sister was a chasm neither could cross. Elias performed his duties as lord with diligence, but no passion. The warmth he once brought to the household was replaced by polite reserve. Lira tried everything, childhood games, favorite songs, cherished stories, to spark a flicker of recognition in her brother. At times, something would almost surface, a flash of warmth, a pang of longing, but then it would fade, leaving only the ache of absence. One evening, Lira found herself standing at Elias's door, clutching a faded letter their mother had written years before. She knocked softly, her heart pounding. Elias, may I come in? He nodded from his seat by the window, where he watched the orchard sway in the dusk. She handed him the letter. Read this. It's from Mother. Maybe it will help. Elias unfolded the paper, tracing the words with careful fingers. The handwriting was familiar, but the emotions behind it were ghosts. He read aloud, his voice steady. To my beloved children, love is the thread that binds us, even in sorrow and darkness. If ever you are lost, remember that love can find its way home, no matter the distance. Mother, he folded the letter, lips pressed tight. It is beautiful. I wish I could remember. That night, Lira dreamed of laughter and sunlight, of running through tall grass with Elias at her side. She awoke determined. If there was even the smallest chance to reclaim what had been lost, she would take it. She returned to the catacombs alone, the grimoire in hand. By lantern light, she pored over its cryptic pages, seeking a reversal or a healing rite. Hours passed, and despair crept in. But then, a faded note, scribbled in the margin by an ancestor. What love gives, love may restore. In the shadow of sacrifice, let a new bond be forged, through trust, through memory, through time. Lira pressed the page to her heart. It was not a promise, but it was hope. Morning found Lira at the breakfast table, a determined glint in her eye. She poured Elias a cup of tea, adding honey the way he used to like it, though he did not react. Let's try something new, she said. Let's make new memories. We can rebuild, even if it's different. Elias regarded her with a faint smile. I would like that. As the day unfolded, they walked the orchard together, planted new saplings, and watched the sun set from the manor's roof. There were no shared memories to guide them, only the possibility of hope, and the slow, steady work of reclaiming what had been lost. For the first time since the curse was broken, something gentle stirred in Elias's heart, a faint warmth, a beginning. The early morning light filtered gently through the windows of Farron Manor, casting golden patterns on the breakfast table. Lira watched Elias as he sipped his tea, his gaze thoughtful, eyes lingering on the orchard beyond. Though his manner was polite, the old warmth between them was still absent, replaced by a cautious curiosity, as if they were strangers learning each other's faces anew. Lira broke the silence. "There's a village festival tonight. We used to go every year. Would you come with me?" Elias hesitated, then nodded. "If it's important to you, I'd be honored." Merrick, overhearing from the doorway, smiled with quiet encouragement. "It will do you both good. The village has missed your laughter." That evening, the siblings walked side by side down the lantern-lit path to the village square. Lira recounted old stories as they went. Elias's misadventures in the sack race, the time they'd won a pie together. Elias listened quietly, searching for echoes of himself in her words. Occasionally, a fleeting sensation, half familiar, half strange, would brush against his thoughts, only to vanish before he could grasp it. In the square, music played and laughter rang out. Lira guided Elias through the crowd, introducing him to old friends and neighbors. He smiled, nodding politely, but felt unmoored, as if watching his own life from a distance. As dusk settled, Lira led him to the edge of the festivities. "Do you remember this tree?" she asked, pointing to a great oak on the green's border. "We carved our initials here after Mother died. You said it would keep us together." Elias traced the faded letters with his fingertips. He felt nothing, yet sensed the importance of this place. "I wish I could remember," he murmured. Lira's voice was soft but steady. "Then let's make a new memory. Right here, right now." They sat beneath the oak, sharing stories, some real, some invented for the joy of laughter. For the first time, Elias found himself smiling not out of politeness, but from genuine, if fragile, happiness. Days turned into weeks. The siblings established new rituals: morning walks in the orchard, evenings spent reading aloud by the fire, tending the roses in the manor garden. Lyra's determination never wavered. She met every setback with patience, every silence with hope. One evening, as they watched the stars from the rooftop, Elias turned to Lira. "You've given me more than I can ever repay. I can't recall the past, but I feel safe here with you, as though something precious is just out of reach." Lira squeezed his hand. "Perhaps that's enough. Perhaps we can build something new, not to replace what was lost, but to honor it." Yet, not all was easily mended. At times, Elias would awaken from troubled dreams, heart pounding, eyes wet with tears for reasons he could not name. There were days when the emptiness felt insurmountable, when he withdrew into himself, unreachable even to Lira. On those days, Lira would sit quietly beside him, reading their mother's letter aloud, or simply holding his hand. Marek, ever faithful, provided gentle distractions: a chess game, a walk in the woods, a new recipe to try. Slowly, the ache dulled. New laughter, new stories, began to fill the halls of Farron Manor. The villagers, once wary, welcomed Elias back, their faith in the siblings' bond restoring what the curse had nearly destroyed. One crisp morning, as autumn leaves spiraled across the lawn, Elias paused beneath the great oak in the village square. He pressed his palm to the rough bark, and for the briefest moment, felt a memory. Lira's laughter, his own promise whispered into the wind. It was only a glimmer, but it was enough. He returned to the manor, hope stirring in his chest. He could not reclaim what was lost, but he could choose, each day, to weave new threads of belonging and love. Inside, Lira greeted him with a smile that needed no memory, only the promise of tomorrow. Morning sunlight spilled through the windows of Farron Manor, casting gentle gold across the breakfast table. Lira watched Elias stir honey into his tea, his movements careful and unfamiliar. They sat together in silence, the quiet no longer oppressive, but filled with tentative possibility. Lira broke the silence, her voice steady. "Would you walk with me today? There's an old oak at the edge of the orchard I'd like to visit." Elias nodded. "Of course." I would like to see it." They stepped into the crisp spring air, the orchard alive with birdsong. The earth was soft beneath their feet, a reminder that life, even after devastation, could renew itself. Lira led the way, recounting stories from their childhood as they walked, her words weaving gentle threads between past and present. Elias listened. At times, he smiled politely, not out of recognition but out of kindness. Yet as they reached the ancient oak, something in its gnarled roots and spreading branches caught at the edges of his memory. A feeling, not a picture. Lira placed her hand on the trunk. "We used to climb this tree and pretend it was a castle. You always let me be the queen." Elias touched the bark, closing his eyes. He could not recall the game, but he felt a flicker of warmth, like sunlight breaking through clouds. In the days that followed, Lira and Elias made a ritual of their walks. They planted new saplings together, marking each with a ribbon of colored cloth. Each act, no matter how small, became a thread in the tapestry of a new relationship, one built not on the memories lost, but on those they chose to create. Merrick, ever watchful, observed the siblings with cautious hope. One evening, he found Lira in the library, the grimoire open before her. "You're searching for a way to restore his memories," Merrick said quietly. Lira nodded. "I want him to remember. But I'm also afraid. What if the magic asks for another price?" Merrick placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "He is alive. You are both free. Perhaps that is enough. Give him time, and give yourself grace." Lira smiled, tears welling in her eyes. "Thank you, Merrick. I will try." Spring deepened. The manor bustled with preparations for the annual festival, a tradition nearly forgotten during the years of the curse. Lira took charge, determined to revive old joys. She enlisted Elias's help, teaching him the dance steps she remembered from childhood, showing him how to hang lanterns among the apple trees. On the night of the festival, the orchard glowed with lantern light. Lira stood at the edge of the gathering, watching guests laugh and dance beneath the stars. Elias approached, offering his hand. "Would you dance with me?" he asked. Lira hesitated, then nodded. As they moved together beneath the trees, the music and laughter swirling around them, something gentle and unfamiliar bloomed between them. A fragile hope, untethered from memory but rooted in the present. For a moment, Lira glimpsed in Elias's eyes a spark of the brother she had lost. Not the exact same love, but something new and quietly beautiful. Later, as the festival faded into night, Elias and Lira sat beneath the old oak. The ribboned saplings swayed in the breeze, each a testament to the life growing from sacrifice. Elias spoke, his voice low. "I may never remember what we shared, but I would like to make something new with you, Lira. If you'll let me." Lira reached for his hand, her answer clear in her touch. "That's all I ever wanted." Above them, the stars shimmered, silent witnesses to the end of an old curse and the fragile, hopeful beginning of something new. The morning after the festival dawned pale and quiet. Lira awoke to the scent of dew and the distant tolling of the village bell. She found Elias already in the garden, kneeling among the ribboned saplings they had planted. He was tracing the colored cloth with his fingers, eyes distant but peaceful. Lira joined him, settling onto the earth beside him. "You're up early." Elias nodded, offering a faint smile. "I dreamt of the orchard, of laughter and music. I think perhaps the memory is not entirely lost, only changed." She placed her hand on his. "We are changed too, but we are still here." They sat in silence as the sun climbed higher, casting golden light through the new leaves. It felt, for the first time, like a beginning rather than an end. As days passed, the rhythm of life at Farron Manor gradually returned. Lira tending the roses, Elias assisting Marek with repairs, the laughter of villagers echoing through open windows. Yet a subtle unease lingered, a shadow at the edge of contentment. One afternoon, a letter arrived bearing the seal of the High Council. a summons for Elias to appear in the capital. The missive spoke of an inquiry into the dark magic that had once plagued their family. Lira's hands trembled as she read it aloud. They want answers. They want to judge the cost of what we did. Elias met her gaze, steady and unafraid. We cannot hide from the past. Whatever they ask, we will face it together. Marek placed a reassuring hand on Lira's shoulder. You have endured worse than their questions. This time, you speak as survivors, not as victims. Their journey to the capital was marked by uncertainty. Villagers lined the road to wish them well, some pressing tokens of luck into their hands. Lira felt the weight of their hopes, mingled with her own lingering fear. In the capital, the council chamber was cold and austere. The councillors, stern and robed, listened as Elias recounted the curse, the sacrifice, and its aftermath. Lira stood beside him, her presence a silent testimony to their bond. After hours of questioning, the eldest councillor spoke. Magic that demands the death of love is an abomination, but you have shown that love, though wounded, can endure. We will not pursue retribution. Go, and let your lives be your answer. Relief flooded through them. As they left the chamber, Elias reached for Lira's hand, his grip warm and certain. Returning home, the siblings found the manor alight with candles and laughter. Marek had organized a small gathering in their honor, the villagers eager to celebrate their return. As the evening wore on, Elias found himself drawn to the old oak once more. He traced the faded initials, feeling not loss, but gratitude. Lira joined him, her voice soft. You do not need to remember everything. I am here to remember for you, and to walk with you into whatever comes next. Elias smiled, the ache of the past softening at last. Then let us live, Lira. Let us fill this place with new stories, for as long as we are able. Above them, the lanterns flickered in the night breeze, a promise that, though some things may be lost, the light they shared would endure.